We live. Hello. We're going to today watch Aetherdrift. Release video. Launch video. You probably got some name for it. We are on Twitch, confirmed. It says we don't have a bit rate. I'm sure that's just a glitch. Sure, it's fine. One viewer. Hello, one viewer. It's probably me. YouTube. We are live on YouTube. But completely unmonetized. That must change. It must change. I think I do this for free. Hi, I see you, YouTube people. Yes, I see you. It's the trailer. Is it just that? No, it's a sneak peek stream. It's not just a trailer. It's gotta be more than that. Righty, thank you for the Prime subscription over on Twitch. That does help pay the bills and cost you absolutely nothing when you use your Twitch Prime because of your Amazon Prime account. Frywater, thank you very much. Yo. You should do this for free because you love us this much. True. But you know what? You know what's not free? Healthcare in the US. I just got my new adjusted for 2025 healthcare premium, guys. Who wants to guess how much I pay a month as a solo entrepreneur, the owner of my own company, my own business, number of employees, 1. How much do you think I pay a month for health quote insurance / scam for just 2 people, my wife and I, just the 2 of us, How much you think it is? $2K. No. Thank God. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'm blessed. I don't know. It's $850. And it's our deductible is $12,000. We literally never even use it until we spend $12K. No dental, no vision. Nope, it's just catastrophic coverage only. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, welcome to 2025. I was going to talk about motorcycles today, but how could one afford a motorcycle paying this much for healthcare? That's why it's so cheap. Did you know that 6 years ago, it was $500? Did you know that in 2011, it was $120? I've had the same plan the whole time. Well, that's not entirely true because a certain law changed and made me get rid of one of my plans at one point and switch to a new provider, but same style of plan, same deductible, same style of plan. That trailer was cringe. We have a trailer? Is the trailer out already? Did they already drop a trailer for the set? Is that a thing? Let's see. I'm a little early because I like to warm the stream up, you know? So I'm a little early, but let's see. Holy, what you got? Holy's got something. Oh. Hold on. It's doing the thing. It's already vroom vrooming. Yeah, like this. Like this. Please stop showing me anything about the Detroit Lions. YouTube, you are... I'm so unhappy about it. Where is my camera? This is not me. Who's this? What the heck is this? Why is this here? That's not my webcam. That is not my webcam. I can't stress enough, that is not my webcam. Go away. You're misleading. Okay. Why is my camera not here? Oh my goodness. Ah! Thank you for that. Holy MTG. How you doing? Let's see. Somebody else. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yep, that's right where we wanted that to be. All right. This could be bigger. Oh. And oh. Okay, guys. It's time to vroom vroom. So I'm a professional, clearly, and obviously you guys had sound for all of that. So, but just in case something went a little wrong, let me do this. Let's try it again. All right. Now make some freaking hype.
Hey, you! Has life been passing you by? Want to add a little explosiveness to your day? Or find out if you have what it takes to beat a demon-possessed machine that magically harvests souls for fuel? 10 teams! 3 worlds! Burn rubber for racing fame!
Racing fame.
Then join the Dirapur Grand Prix, and this could be you! Not him!
You.
Her!
What? Why would you not want to be the
chance
goblin?
For fantastic glory and incredible riches! Like the Aetherdrift, this year's legendary prize. It's worth the risk, we promise. So put down that remote and push your pedal past its limits. We want you to be a part of the Dirapur Grand Prix. Frankly, because we're running out of racers.
Wonder
But
why.
hey, it'll be a ton of fun. It's only a death race if you die.
That's a good point.
Warning, the Dirapur Grand Prix is incredibly dangerous and will likely result in your untimely death. We are not responsible for vehicle sabotage, driver incineration, or decapitation from giant anthropomorphic sharkmen. Drive at your own risk. This message has been paid for by the New Culture Collective.
That's it. It's only a death race if you die is the slogan. Could you please stop showing me anything to do with Ohio State or the Lions? God. All right. So.
That magically harvest.
What do we think? What do we think? On one hand, there is a shark tied by ghost chains to, is that a Dodge Charger? Oh my god. Oh my god. A Mustang? Look, I'm not a car guy. I'm not a car guy. Yeah, that's... Wow. And then they're like... So we got 10 teams. 10 teams. I have a prediction. Is my mic still coming through? Actually, can you guys hear me? It's not showing up. My Go XLR isn't saying that I am not being heard, but I think you can hear me, or you'd be complaining. Yes, okay. Yep, 10 teams. Okay, thank you. 10 teams. So, guilds? I guess? But not guilds? Something like that? Okay. 10 teams. So there is that. This is another giant shark racing thing chasing Chandra. Oh, and by the way, the goblin, they're like, no, don't be like goblin. Be like, be that you can be this person. And I know why. I understand. But yeah, Chandra is very much in the set. Chandra. It looks like loot is back. So we definitely have some loot. Magic Spell. Thank you for the resub in the Prime. I really appreciate that. I'm going to turn down your volume, though, because my God, was that alert loud. I need to put the alerts on their own channel. I just am not smart enough to figure out how to do that. Everywhere, February 14th. All right. The engine is backwards. There was internet rage. I wonder how many people are actually upset about this. Loot looks good for once. I think so. Loot's eyes were a little crazy before, right? It just had the crazy eyes. Can't wait for a Chandra Planeswalker. Is Wizards out of good ideas? I think Wizards is being very deliberate about doing different ideas. I don't believe you can be out of ideas with Magic the Gathering. I just don't believe it. They could go on Reddit right now and get inspiration for about 500 ideas from people just popping off with what they think would be a cool plane. I will always try to be honest and somewhat constructive where possible. I am struggling with the MTG cosplaying all kinds of other worlds kind of vibe that this has become, the Fortnite vibe that it's become, because I am a boomer. I will always enjoy the game, and I usually find lots of cards that I can enjoy one way or another. It's the aesthetic. It's the murders at Karlov Manor, into Outlaws of Thunder Junction, into Bloomborough, into Duskmourn, into this. It's the cutesy. I don't know. It's not serious, right? It doesn't take itself serious. It's only a death race if you die, is exactly the slogan of something that isn't to be taken this seriously, which makes me feel weird, because I took this game. Admittedly, I took this game probably too seriously for 20 some years. So it seems like they kind of want that lighthearted, everything's kind of meme, everything's kind of funny, everything's kind of like that, you know? Bloomborough is so good aesthetically. I know a lot of people who love Bloomborough, my wife included, loves Bloomborough. Bloomborough, I 100% admit, did what it came to do, and it's not for me. I did not like. I can't handle all the cutesy, dude. I can't do it. And this does feel like it's been about 5 intensely like stylized themed sets without a Magic the Gathering set. And my soul wants a good old-fashioned Dominaria Magic the Gathering set. Foundations was kind of like that. You know, there was opening Foundations packs was some of the more fun I had with Magic last year. It was actually really sweet. I'm an old heartless man. Dude, I still love the game. I can say all these things about the aesthetics and the direction of Magic, and plenty of people get more upset than I do. I'm still going to play the game, and I'm still going to love it. I know that. I know, because I can't stop playing the game. I enjoy it too much. Like, no matter what I think of motorcycles, there'll probably be at least 1 or 2 that I enjoy playing in the games. I do hope that they put a lot of work into Tarkir. I really hope they put a ton of work into Tarkir to make it like the best set of the year. If they don't have nearly as much lore to focus on because they're doing so much Universes Beyond, and if they don't have nearly as many Magic the Gathering sets that they're making because they're doing a lot of these... it sounds disrespectful to call them meme sets, but isn't that kind of what they are? These are kind of meme sets, right? They're or cosplay sets. It's how it feels. Like, it's your favorite characters racing. It's your favorite characters detectiving. It's your favorite characters outlawing. Maybe there's a better verb for it, right? But if they don't do a good old-fashioned Tarkir set hardly ever, hopefully they put a lot of Magic love into this one. I really hope they do. Aetherdrift gives you 0 hype. You haven't seen enough cards. You know what fixes aesthetic? Yeah, I don't like it. Sweet freaking cards. And hopefully that's what we're going to see in about 6 minutes. Today is the launch for that. This is what they've shown us so far. They show us Lifecraft Engine. Lifecraft Engine. 3 colorless. 4/4 artifact vehicle rare. As it enters, choose a creature type. Vehicle creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. Each creature you control of the chosen type, other than this vehicle, gets +1/+1. So, it's automated automaton as a vehicle? Okay. Okay. I guess. Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. At least it swings as a 4/4. Heraldic Banner as a vehicle? Heraldic Banner makes mana. That's like the part of Heraldic Banner that's exciting. Being campy enough to do Demon Car with Shark chained to its back feels great. I think it appeals to an audience, and I just don't think that a lot of Magic boomers are the audience. So the question is how much audience, you know? That's the question. I don't know the answer. When Magic design keeps going in this direction, I have to assume, I keep assuming, and you know what they say about assuming, but I keep assuming that I must be the minority and there must be a majority they're courting with their style, right? I keep assuming that. So we're going to see if it works. The sold out Magic Cons last year, and especially the number of people being at their first Magic Con, it's working for some people. How many? I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. You got to think about it. You should always ask when you have a strong opinion, is this a majority opinion? And you shouldn't use your little group, a small group of friends, or the people in a Twitch channel as your proof that you are in the majority. You should always think about that. Courting people who thought Ready Player One was good. I mean, if you're talking about the movie wasn't great, but I still liked it. And the book, the first book, not the second, was very good. So I guess they're still courting me slightly. I'm going to shut the door. Electricity in here builds up too much, and I get shocked for touching the microphone. We are the majority if we believe it. Yeah, with that attitude, absolutely true. All right, let's see. I'm just gonna go leak myself if you don't mind. Look, guys, it's you. Magic boomers are already hooked. You can't blame a corporation for operating with that logic because it's mostly true. How many of us have quit the game every new set and every big announcement? I quit the game 3 times. That's a fact, actually. Chris Miser, thank you for becoming a member. At 3 points in my life, I sold my collection and said I was done. And look at me now. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Chat is revving up, baby. We're gonna drift. Can you guys hear that? It's not a bad soundtrack. That's definitely my vibe on the soundtrack. You remember what sets made you quit? It's really funny now. Lorwyn. Planeswalkers made me quit. I said I'm done with this when I saw Planeswalkers. Seems silly now, huh? But yeah, there were a lot of people mad about Planeswalkers. Alaminia, thank you for the tier 1. Oh, they're doing it again.
Want to add a little explosiveness to your day? Or find out if you have what it takes to beat a demon-possessed machine that magically harvests souls for fuel? 10 teams! 3 worlds! Burn rubber for racing fame!
Wow!
Then join the Girapur Grand Prix, and this could be you! Not him! Her! Take a chance for fantastic glory and incredible riches! Like the Aetherdrift.
That probably is Mark Rosewater. That I think it is.
It's worth the risk. We promise. So put down that remote and push your pedal past its limits. We want you to be a part of the Girapur Grand Prix. Frankly, because we're running out of racers. But hey, it'll be a ton of fun! It's only a death race if you die.
Warning, the Girapur Grand Prix is incredibly dangerous and will likely result in your untimely death. We are not responsible for vehicle...
They better have Mark Rosewater do the voice of that legendary on Arena. All right, let's go.
Welcome to the Girapur Grand Prix. The most intense race in the multiverse is too fast and too dangerous for just one plane. Instead, its tracks wind across 3, starting with Avishkar at night.
Vroom.
Newly connected to other
card.
planes by the Omen Paths, Avishkar is a beehive of activity, colorful and vibrant even in the middle of the night.
Start your engines. You guys catch that?
Bustle and glow with the activity of people from all over.
Cycling.
The racetrack here is lined with spectators spread throughout the party-like atmosphere. This is a celebration, and the whole plane is invited. From there, the course leads to Amonkhet, a plane full of dangerous ruins and other obstacles. But there are signs of rejuvenation.
They're like
as well,
chariots
as
pulling
Amonkhet
things?
races towards a new
It's like
golden age.
animals running.
And finally, the pre-zooms through primordial Muruganda, rich in raw magic and boasting the remains of an ancient and powerful civilization.
Ooh, tap for
Muruganda
2.
holds
It's an
danger
ancient
and
tomb.
promise in equal measure. And the race ends where it began, back on the exciting streets of Avishkar, where the people are thrilled to celebrate their new champion. But you certainly can't walk across all those planes. You're going to need a vehicle or a mount. Vehicles are a familiar mechanic, and this racing-themed set contains a huge variety of them. Whatever
okay,
kind of
her
player
bike
you
is a
are,
token?
There's a vehicle for you. You've already seen our host, the verbose Vin Wixit. The only thing in the multiverse as fast as this race is his motor mouth. He's also here to introduce the two most important mechanics of the set.
Draw
Start
cards?
Your engines and max speed.
Oh.
Start Your Engines represents creatures and vehicles beginning the race, gaining more and more speed and achieving new abilities. The final and most powerful abilities are then unlocked once you reach max speed. When a card tells you to start your engines, grab the helper card to track your speed. There will be one included in every pre-release box.
Okay.
Once on each of your turns,
We track
when
our
an
speed.
opponent loses life, you gain one level of speed until ultimately reaching max speed. Victory in the
And then
Grand
you get
Prix
vroom
is its
vroom
own reward,
benefits.
the fame, the glory, the rush. But for those that want an actual reward, there is also a masterwork artifact to be won. As you can see, it has a shiny gold filigree casing, but it's what's inside that really counts. The Aether Spark.
Whoa!
That's right. A
Planeswalker!
Planeswalker spark enveloped in a field of super-cooled liquid aether. If you win this prize, say goodbye to frantically searching for an omen path to take you to another plane. Instead,
It was
get
an
in the
equipment,
driver's
guys.
seat
It
and
equips.
travel in luxurious exclusivity.
It's a Planeswalker
with your
that
very
equips.
own Aether Spark. Go anywhere you want, anytime you want, at top speed. The interplanar track is full of hazards, which is why no serious racer participates alone. Instead, there are 10 racing teams. Each have their own rides and a shot at winning the no-holds-barred race and bringing home the Aether Spark. But it's anyone's
Ganji,
guess
that
who will
you?
triumph in the end. First up, we have the Guidelight Voyagers, machines speeding their way from an unknown plane of the multiverse or beyond.
Whenever you cast an
This
artifact
team
spell,
is
pay one, you can
capable of
copy
remarkable
it?
coordination.
What?
No surprise, as they are each animated by a central brain called the Mendicant Core. The Guidelight Voyagers can fuse with their racing vehicles to become greater than the sum of their parts. These inexorable machines have a good chance of coming out on top. As exciting as the race itself is, there's also plenty of flair to soup up your deck. This set contains 40 borderless revved-up cards, each featuring a vehicle.
Do you
and
like the
racer
revved-up
posed
cards? Do we
together
like the
with a
revved-up cards?
high-energy, graffiti-laden background. The Speed Demons are fearsome competitors in the Grand Prix.
Winter
Led
is
by
already
Winter
back.
Cursed Rider, a wandering revenant and wraith of their former self. Winter commands a team fresh from Duskmourn's haunted halls. Ghosts, possessed survivors, haunted dolls, ghouls, and hungry specters. You name them,
Supposed to be dead.
It's got them.
Valgoth ate him, right?
Together forever on the open road, seeking salvation somewhere over the horizon.
It's Death Shadow.
Or if they
Guys,
can't
that's
find
Death
that,
Shadow.
maybe an
They
Aether
made a
Spark
Death
will do the
Shadow.
trick. While the Aether Spark is the grand prize, it's certainly not the only prize you can find within this set. First place box toppers are inspired by going for the gold. They come in packs of 2 atop every box and feature cards in
Okay.
new gold substrate treatment. And in order to claim that prize,
Very
you're
yellow.
going to need a little boost. Exhaust is a new mechanic which represents a creature or artifact kicking into high gear. It's a one-shot effect that can be activated only once each game. Another creature equipped with those strengths is Loot the Pathfinder. Originally
Guys?
found in the vault on Thunder Junction before being dragged through Duskmourn.
It's got
by
Black
Jace.
Lotus, Ancestral
Loot was
Recall, and
captured by
Lightning Bolt
Winter
on
and the
it,
Speed
guys.
Demons. He might prove pretty useful in this race, as he has the ability to divine the precise location of any omen path and its destination. Loot may yet play a decisive role in leading someone to the finish line.
Someone, who could it be?
End Riders are nomadic apocalypse punk warriors from the dying plane of Gastal. Far Fortune End Boss is a road-bitten speed seeker who has driven
Jeez,
the last
I wonder
of her
if he's the
loyal
boss
crew
at the
away from
end.
their doomed home at a breakneck pace. Their fearsome vehicles and heavy armor protect them as they cannonball across
Guys,
the
guys,
multiverse,
guys,
seeking gas,
does this
water,
remind
or
you of
glory,
anything?
Preferably all three. The
All we
Goblin
need is a guitar
Rocketeers
player.
Are a team of the most clever and daring goblins this side of the multiverse. Redshift
Whoa.
Rocketeer Chief is actually the first goblin to strap a rocket to his back and fire the
Any
ignition.
number of
He has
permanents
survived
from
more
hand
crashes
onto
than he can count,
battlefield.
earning the loyalty of his crew. The Rocketeer's need for speed led them to develop rocket-powered vehicles capable of incredible velocity. But while they initially used these speed machines to explore the Omen Pass,
The Boommobile?
lately, they've been far more
The
interested in
Boommobile?
testing their speed against other vehicles on the open road.
The hell is this set?
Alacrian Quick Beasts are a proud team of beast riders from a small, hitherto unknown plane. Leading the team are the odd couple
What are you
Caradora
on?
and her mount Loggerin.
Oh,
Loggerin, soul of Alacria,
nice.
is ancient and powerful, but after a training accident, has taken on newcomer Caradora as their rider. The Quick Beasts are fed on a steady diet of Aether, which makes them fast and resilient enough to compete with any machine. Saddle is a returning mechanic first introduced in Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Saddling
Mounts,
and crewing.
like Loggerin,
Huh.
are creatures that get a bonus when ridden into battle.
It feels like
This
a
set
real
also
advantage
contains
in a
15
race to be
creature
able to
cards
fly.
with the borderless Rude Rider treatment. Each features amped up racers at their gnarliest with custom font and mana symbols. The champions of Amonkhet are composed of the living and the dead of Amonkhet, working
They're
together
back.
to win the Aether Spark. Representing the dead, Zahor is an undead Leonin from his plane's ancient past.
Exceptionally
He
buff
races at
Leonin.
top speed
Holy
to return
crap.
some of the glory Amonkhet lost during
Holy
his
crap.
bygone lifetime. Basri represents the living and has formed a close bond with Zahor.
Okay.
After they fought together against a party of tomb demons in the sands of Amonkhet.
I don't remember anything
He
about
seeks to bring
Basri,
his plane
but
towards
does
a
make
glorious
cats.
new future by winning the Grand Prix. These champions drive the pace of the race forward on their mighty chariots pulled by powerful undead creatures.
Whenever you discard one more cards, create that many
The
zombies.
Speed Brood are a strange yet alluring team of insects and arthropods who grow their vehicles themselves.
What?
Atchik is a wizened and learned leader who is participating in her final race before returning home to fulfill her destiny.
One last job.
Becoming a vehicle herself.
Whoa, okay.
Elegant and alien,
Okay.
the Speed Brood refuse to reveal their plane of origin or their reason for participating in the Grand Prix, beyond their desire to become speed itself. The Aether Rangers are master inventors from Avishkar, who have turned all their ingenuity towards the problem of winning the Aether Spark. They are led by the mysterious masked racer Spitfire,
This
whose true name
Spitfire?
is Sita Varma. She chooses to keep her identity hidden for the duration
Well,
of
then
the
why
race.
is it right on the card?
The Aether Rangers are the paragons of the new Avishkar, wedding reverence for the natural world with the masterwork engineering necessary to harness its most powerful energy, Aether. Fueled by Aether, they are able to build incredible momentum in their quest for victory.
Thopters in
The
green
Keelhaulers
blue is
are a rowdy
something.
crew of sea folk corsairs
What?
hailing from an oceanic plane.
It's a shark pirate,
This
guys.
team blindly follows Captain Howler, a hulking
What?
Forgotten, inked with the tattoos of every port he has visited.
Of course.
Under his iron fin, these
Oh my
capricious
God.
scallywags adhere to the rules of the race only as long as they must. Once the crowds drop behind them and the Grand Prix heads into wild territory,
Come on.
the Keelhaulers
Shark
start the
pirate? Come
violence.
on.
They're willing
That's
to
hype.
exploit any advantage to ensure they win.
Take a
from
bite out of
broadsides
life,
to
chat.
boarding.
Take a bite out of
The
life.
legendary Cloudspire
Oh,
Racing Team
I wonder who this
are
is.
last year's Grand Prix winners and the odds-on favorite to win again.
I
Leading
wonder
the team
why.
is newcomer Chandra herself.
Newcomer.
This Avishkar native joins the crew in an attempt to win the Aether Spark for Nissa, hoping to give her a chance to walk the multiverse once more.
I wonder if she'll win.
Co-leading the team is last year's captain, Koladin, a native of
Bro.
Kylan and someone who has dedicated his life to the pursuit of speed and racing glory.
So we've got
Koladin
the
uses magic
mentor,
to bring his machine to life,
the wise,
investing
grizzled
it with his
mentor.
will. Cloudspire is a high-speed, low-drag team big on professionalism and pedigree. Their vehicles are built to
Professionalism, of
awe and
course.
thrill, floating across energy projections and leaving little doubt about their quality. This set also features 2 commander decks, each of which is themed around a plane. The themes are enhanced by plane-specific facelifted reprints. The Eternal Might is a white, blue, and black commander deck themed around Amonkhet. The dead have risen and are no longer servants of the
Yo.
living. They are now leaders
Commander
and
gamers
participants
rise
in
up.
Amonkhet's rejuvenation. all
Whenever
under
you
the
draw a
powerful
card, zombies
command
get +1/+1?
With a steady stream of card drawing and discarding that generates zombies and buffs them up, the Eternal Might deck uses a growing army of the undead to overrun the battlefield.
Whoa, dude.
The
I
Living
love it.
Energy Commander deck is a green, blue, and red deck based on Avishkar.
Energy,
focused on
of
wielding
course.
Energy. Led by Sahili, Avishkar's radiant creator, you'll stockpile artifacts and energy counters to fuel your big moves. Generate copies of your cards as formidable artifact creatures, then watch as your foes short circuit.
Okay.
Serving
Energy,
as backup
energy.
is Pia Millar,
Mom!
Chandra's mother and competitor in this race.
What?
As the founder of the Aether Rangers,
Mother versus
Pia
daughter,
is a powerful
no!
wielder of both magic and technology. The Grand Prix is starting soon, so pick your vehicle, pick your team, and get to the track. You can play early at your local game store for pre-release starting the weekend of February 7th and on Arena
that's pretty soon.
February 11th.
That's a little
Otherwise,
later.
We'll see you on February 14th when Aetherdrift will be available everywhere. Keep an eye out for the special guests, courtesy of the crew over at Secret Lair.
Wow.
And if you'd like to learn who will win the race and take home the Aether Spark, story episodes are currently being written and published online. Buckle up for a death race across the multiverse, full of high-octane action and adrenaline-fueled magic gameplay. Ignite your engines.
Is that it? That's the video? We finished it? Okay. The cards actually look cool. There is definitely a Death Shadow.
Hello and welcome to the Aetherdrift debut after show. We're gonna slow things down a little bit. That got my heart racing.
That was so fast.
We're gonna slow things
Oh
down.
my
and take
gosh.
a deep dive into the set and the worlds and the characters and all the things Aetherdrift. And to do that, I have three fantastic guests with me today. Let's go around and start by introducing yourself and what you did for Aetherdrift.
Yes, hello, I'm Yanni Skolnick.
So some of us
I
are
was the
zoomed
set
in.
design lead, so I led the final portion of creating the set, working with a wide variety of teams to make sure everything comes together.
All right. Mark, who are you?
I'm Mark Rosewater. I was the vision design lead. I did the early part of the design and handed off to Yanni.
All right, and Miguel.
Hi everyone, I'm Miguel Lopez. I was the world building lead on this set, which meant that I got a document from Mark and then worked with Yanni and a few art directors to help bring this set to life.
Okay, yay.
So we are going to preview a bunch of new cards. We're going to dive a little bit deeper
New cards,
on
new
the
cards.
mechanics and the design of the set and how all of this came together. And we're going to do so over the next hour or so. If we have time, we'll get to some questions to hear from you.
New cards.
But let's kick things off with, this is a racing set. They're racing for a prize. We gotta kick things off with some bling, with one of the prizes you can get in this set, a special guest. So we're going to talk more about special guests next week, but one of the special guests, Chrome Moss. Coming in that borderless and that first place foiling on the right. Wow. Chrome Moss is going to be one of the special guests in this set. Now, that foiling,
Hello.
we're going to be showing off a
Are you
lot
going to
of
buy it
and
now?
as
Are
usual,
you? I bet you are.
The digital version doesn't do the physical version justice. And so we also have a short video here that's going to show off some of the lands and kind of show what this looks like in real life.
Much shinier.
Much nicer.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Shiny. Yep.
Less
Oh my
magic.
goodness.
Yeah, these first place foil cards are gorgeous. You're going to be getting these in box toppers. So the play boosters and collector booster boxes are going to be coming with a box
Do you
topper
like yellow?
pack that has a land in it, as well as a rare or mythic in that treatment as well. So as we go through this, as you see those first place foils pop up, that's where you're going to be.
Yeah, Brawl
getting
players
those.
getting more fast mana is
Chrome Moss,
something.
very exciting. But this whole set is exciting, and it's meant to feel that way, right? That was kind of the design challenge, Mark.
Yeah, so basically what happened was the idea of a death race we've actually had in our pocket for, 5, 6, 7 years. But it wasn't until we were sometimes in design, like you have
Here he
different ideas
goes.
come together.
He's getting wound up.
When we had March of the
Mark's
Machine,
going hard.
we sort of changed the cosmology of the entire multiverse. We created Omen Pass. So we said to ourselves, what can we do that we can't do before? Like, one of the reasons to make the change is to allow us to make sets we couldn't make. And so we made a long list of like, well, what could you do that you couldn't do before? So one of the things I called a travelogue set. Well, instead of being on one world, we could travel between worlds, so there could be some continuity. And when we came up with that idea, we liked a lot the idea that, like, well, we could, rather than have one world, you could peek in a bunch of different worlds. But we said, why? Like, we had to have a reason to do it. So we went back to our list of other things we were looking at, and we said, oh, how about the death race? What if it was a race between worlds? Like, it made a lot of sense that the race, it could be on one world, but isn't it more exciting if they're racing between worlds? That's it, like it upped the excitement. And so really, like, death race and travelogue sort of came together, and like each of them got the other one to go, oh, together, this is the package that we wanted.
Vroom, vroom.
And then Miguel, when that concept came to world building, or when you started working on that, how did you then end up on these 3 planes with this whole concept, the Gearboard Grand Prix?
Yeah, sure. So when a concept comes down and hits World Building's desk, or my desk at least, my main goal is always trying to make the world, like, the setting internally consistent, right? Like, it follows a logic that makes sense in the context in which it's presented. So for our 3 planes, we were thinking that we wanted to show off a broad swath of environments, right? We wanted an urban environment. We wanted something that hit the death race, like markers of what a death race is, and then a bit of a wild card.
I think it means.
So
I think it means we're not going to get
it's a vibrant city
Kaladesh or Amonkhet settings again anytime soon. I think we're not going back to those planes for like a decade.
It's a really exciting plane to get to return to. It's super rich with history and revolutionary potential.
And Mark, I just want to mention,
the
death race was on Avishkar the whole time. Like, that was always on Avishkar. The idea of this vehicle race and Avishkar, like, that was joined together. So when we went to say, what should we do? The answer wasn't even, what are the 3 worlds? It's like, well, clearly it's Avishkar, and then we needed 2 other worlds.
So how do we pick those 2 other worlds?
2 other worlds. Well, Amonkhet certainly hit, like, at the outset when it was a bit more death race than it sort of wound up being like a combat sport at the end. Amonkhet really hit that death race note, right? This is a twice over post-apocalyptic plane covered in ruins and deserts. Obviously, like, as
I guess
we dug
it's
into
their only desert set,
and,
right?
Art dev for it, and worked with consultants. We wanted to sort of bring a bit more life into it, make it a place that was less a ruin and more a place of potential as well. Muruganda is kind of one of those things where, like, sometimes on the world building team, we just get to shoot a shot and see if it happens, and Muruganda just happened, and it was a sort of a lot of fun momentum running into this place that was like kind of a blank slate design-wise.
Thunder Junction's a meme. It's not a plane.
To really, like,
I refuse.
It was a really fun visual and world-building sandbox for me. I'm sure Yanni and Mark can speak more to the design aspects.
Yeah, what is
We got a
Muruganda?
little bit, like, more behind, like, so there were a lot of, like, constraints we had, right? We wanted to do 3 different worlds. And we originally talked about doing 4 different worlds, and then we did the math. We realized that the set couldn't fit. Like, 3 worlds made more sense than 4. So what we did is there were a couple of rules we had. One was, originally it had to have a style guide, meaning we had to have been to the world, and because we're making 3 different worlds, and so it's tricky to just make 3 brand new worlds. And the other thing was, we saw this as an opportunity to revisit worlds that people had wanted to go to that we just didn't have space for. One of the dynamics that's tricky is about half our worlds are new and about half are returns. And so we keep banking places we could go back to, but we have only so many slots to go back. And that one of the reasons we liked the travelogue is it let us go to places that we wanted to go back, but we didn't have room on the schedule. So when we were plotting things out, there's a bunch of worlds we are going back to, Lorwyn, stuff like that. So we took that off the table, Tarkir, stuff like that we knew we were doing.
Someday we'll go to Lorwyn. Someday.
What has a style guide that we could go back to? And we made a list. And the list got chopped down really quickly for all sorts of technical reasons. And in the end, we picked 2 planes beyond Avishkar, and that one of the 2 of them we ended up, like, for other reasons, we saved it for something else we didn't end up doing. And so we had to look for a plane that we didn't have a style guide for, and that's when we sort of looked around. And so we decided it should be one of the planes that was on the battles, essentially. That was kind of our short list. Like,
Sure.
We've hinted at those
Was
worlds. we've
Morganda a
named those
battle?
worlds. And really what we wanted was kind of what is cool
Invasion
seeing
of
race cars
Morganda?
driving through. And so we really did like the idea of the prehistoric world was, Morgana was our prehistoric world. We're like, oh, like it really was a contrast to the city, and it really was a contrast to the desert.
It's a
And that's one of the
prehistoric
things
world?
We wanted is,
So
we wanted each of these to seem very, very
dinosaurs?
different. And, we had talked about doing like prehistoric world forever, and Morgana had been like, I think Future Sight was our first tease at it, because we knew, like one day we knew we'd go there, so we teased at Future Sight, and we really haven't quite gone there. And so when we had to pick a world that we hadn't gone to, we went to the creative team, obviously, and we said, you know, this is kind of what we want to do, but it requires some work because we didn't have a lot of work on it. In
dinos?
fact, we looked at all the cards that were on it, and we said we knew 3 things. It had to have dinosaurs, oozes, and large plants. That's what we knew.
Okay. Dinos. Okay,
Well,
I'm in.
Part of returning to the
There's
world,
dinos in this
Johnny,
set,
is
guys,
making
in our
cards that
race
are
car set.
familiar to places. So
Confirmed.
the Gear Hulk cycle was slam dunk. It was really
Absolutely.
evocative in original Kaladesh at the time. So talk a bit. Let's put one up on the screen and talk a bit about bringing those back.
Yeah, so we wanted to bring
Okay.
him back, but of course
Gear
we wanted
Hulks.
to find some twist. We considered a lot of things, but ended up on the very simple solution of they're 2 colors, they've got 2 keywords, and I
It's
think
a
they ended
thought
up with
not
very
seer.
exciting
That's hard to
things, and I'm
cast.
excited to see what they do in competitive
With
format.
lifelink and
Yeah,
Ward.
Speaking of competitive format,
Okay.
this one looks fairly strong.
Oh yeah, we felt like blue and black needed more powerful creatures that also give you. ways to
I don't know, man.
Disrupt people. So
Is this gonna make it in these
And
decks?
this is an allied cycle.
Is this gonna get
Ally
played?
cycle. Okay. All right. And then I think this one has a few different versions to it as well.
Wow.
Miguel, we've talked a bit about the first place foil cards.
I'm
But
getting
Miguel, I'm interested in that.
I'm getting
that
Ava
graffiti
vibes.
Style.
Is this
there.
an angel?
What is that meant to evoke?
Yeah, so the graffiti style, we're going to see it across a bunch of different cards. The graffiti that our art directors designed in the background.
You can
is
target
entirely
yourself.
bespoke, right? It's made up for this set. These treatments. It's sort of a nod. In chatting with some of our art designers preparing for this, what they wanted to convey is that this is a nod to like Avishkar's, youthful, like post-revolutionary orientation, right? So like graffiti is an art style that demands precision, skill, and speed. It sort of feels
the gold cards. I always try to be honest with you guys. I have a strong, but there's only so much I'm allowed to tell you. What I'm going to say is that there's a strong possibility they are much more gold and much less yellow in person. A very strong possibility they are much more gold and much less yellow if you maybe see one someday, like somebody may have done. That's all.
This does not do it justice. We're going to have more videos on social media. The video we showed earlier with the basic lands, that was an example of that foiling. The foiling is going to look more like that and less like matte yellow. So
Our advancement is that it's yellow.
it's not just yellow.
Yeah, okay,
It
they're
is-
kind of saying
it
the
is
same
shiny.
thing.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
In person.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yanni, you want to
See, I knew they'd
yeah,
say
we
that.
landed on the allied colors partially because the next set we've got coming out, Tarkir Dragon Storm, focuses more on the enemy colors with its wedges and clans. So
Yeah.
we wanted to give the allied colors something to get excited about here.
All right. Well, speaking of getting them excited, we do have a second Gear Hulk we can show off while we're still talking about Gear Hulk. So here's
Firewood.
Gear Hulk, a 7/7 for 6 mana.
Gruel?
That pumps all your other creatures. This does a lot.
Wait, what?
Yanni.
Yeah, it makes all your creatures very big, very hard to block, and itself is just pretty huge and commands the battlefield. And,
What?
yeah. I love the flavor text on this card.
Crater Hoof, is that you?
Revengeful,
Damage can't be prevented?
helping out the
It beats
play.
Teferi's protection!
A mighty memorial to a fallen savior.
Wait, it doesn't, because your life total can't
So how
change.
many iterations, Yanni, did you go through
Just kidding.
for these Gear Hulks? Did some of them, like, brain to print? Did you go through a lot of different versions of these? Because I know you're sculpting them for tournament play.
Nothing
Yeah,
beats
we went through
Teferi's
a lot,
protection.
Mostly working with different schemes. Like we considered versions where we had additional other mechanics or were using other elements of a set. But at the end, we ended up with this more simple. They have one very splashy enters the battlefield ability, like the original Gear Hulks, but 2 keywords.
2 keywords. Okay, so you see the Vigilance and Menace here.
It doesn't have
Black Blue
haste.
one
That's
has
true.
Lifelink and Ward.
Yep.
Okay,
That's not good.
So they all follow that pattern.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. All right, so now let's move on to we're gonna talk about the lands a bit. The lands are certainly important from a flavor
Lands,
perspective.
lands.
They're also
We like
pretty,
lands, right?
Powerful here.
Everybody
We're
needs good
getting
lands.
Second half of a cycle that we've already seen. So let's throw those up on the screen.
Yeah, the one thing really interesting about the lands is because we're doing a race.
Great lands.
The idea of
A-plus
seeing
lands.
where you're going and seeing the environment.
Absolute banger
like
lands.
launch set where we have
Best
3
land
times
cycle
the
in
worlds
years.
to see.
Yeah.
Lands even have a much larger role of showing off all the places we're going.
Yeah, well, and I think you can even see that sort of conceptually here.
Let's do
where
it.
in a place.
Finish that cycle, baby.
That's how you get the mana from both. But Miguel, I'm also interested. All of this flavor text is about loot, which is pretty cool.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I think we're trying to hint that Loot is a relatively important character.
Oh
in the
my
story.
God! Why?
So,
Okay.
Loot. So for I should say about Loot. Loot is he's
Oh
a very
my
young
God.
creature. He's a beast that is found inside the vault on Thunder Junction.
All the
Also
flavor
from,
text is about loot.
Mag Terra now. You'll see quotes on there from Jace, from Vraska, from Chandra, people in
Just get
Oshkosh,
borderless, no flavor text.
who've interacted with him. Jace, obviously, he if you've read the story, you will find that he needs loot for some critical aspect of his sort of design.
At least it's not Kellen, guys.
By his side, Jace has been hunting. For
We
loot
haven't
ever since
seen
he lost
Kellen
him
yet.
during the events of Duskmorn. And this series is intended to show off sort of the why behind why someone would want to.
I bet Chandra was originally Kellen.
Have loot in their possession or be very good friends with them. It's highlighting his powers in action, guiding either the viewer or at least himself through omen paths from one plane to the next. The powers that he has that we know of are related to omen paths and the sort of the very fabric of the multiverse itself. He can't make them, but he can find them, and you can see sort of his powers.
He's in these arts.
Found.
All these arts, he's like, look, a circle. Wow!
Now, Mark, you started talking about it, but can you talk more about the role the lands play in like creating this feeling of a race?
Could never have found it without
One
him.
of the things we ask ourselves is, okay, when we're doing a race, one of the key elements of a race is progression, right? Of seeing all the different things. And the reason we chose the lands we did is like it's neat to see them racing on dunes or racing in the prehistoric forest and stuff like that. And so this didn't end up making it into the actual set, but like we had a mechanic, one of our mechanics in Handoff that we talked about is using lands as a way to represent that you've gone distance, you've gone space. But we did.
What is he talking about?
Like I said, the thing that's really nice in the actual finished set is that you really get a chance to see all the worlds we're on and get to see all the different possibilities. And like I said, it is.
Mark's just popping off, baby. He's just popping off.
I do think the lands capture a sense of place that no other card type does.
Yeah, and I especially enjoy of these Verges. We got to pick the creative of these while working alongside the Duskmorn team. And the idea of being on the verge of something is perfect here, showing the omen paths, and you're getting to see 2 of our 3 planes on each of these cards.
Yeah. All right, and we continue the journey on our next set of lands, which we have down in the notes as the Country Roads cycle.
What?
So let's see.
Oh my God, they did it.
Talk about the creation of these and their place in the set.
Yeah, so we decided very early on, this is a racing set, it's going to be a vehicle set. And a lot of working with vehicles is knowing how you're going to pilot them, crew them reliably. And so these lands are here to make sure everyone's got access to just a little bit of more ability to generate creatures to crew the vehicles.
Yeah, as we'll get into in a second. The set is about vehicles, the heart is a set about vehicles, and so these lands very much are leaning into the mechanical heart of the set.
Yeah. And Yanni, were these always, these seem to have the exact same text. With
Rocky Roads. Okay. I was wondering if they had any more
there was
silly
some thought to it,
titles.
but making that design constraint of being around
Jesus.
vehicles and
How do I
needing
turn
a
off
lot of
these
things to
alerts?
support them was really crucial to the design and iteration of this set. So we liked having these be the same for every color and really enable that everyone to play with vehicles.
Okay.
And real quick, another thing that's important is one of the challenge of lands is you want to make lands that are good but not too good. And so
Somebody's got a delivery.
Really go hard, meaning
Their
this
dog
really
is
good,
popping off.
But in the right deck, it allows us to make things that are much stronger than they would be if they're just.
Thank you, Mosquito.
They're strong no matter what.
Thank you,
it's hard for us
Chico.
to make them. But these, okay, they go into a very particular thing, and that is a deck that cares about vehicles and mounts. So that's this lean. We get to lean in our theme and then make something that's much stronger. That's it's a niche, but hey, in that niche, it's very strong.
Yeah. Well, and I love just like the Verge.
I mean, they make pilots. That's limited, right? They all do the same thing. They make a pilot.
The race, places
limited.
Planes.
Limited.
Again, in the common dual lands.
We've never seen these before.
Game lands, but they do take us on a tour of the race. Miguel, talk a little bit about the concepting for these.
Yeah, so lands, like, on the world building team, lands are always a ton of fun to get to work with because...
I'm gonna say it. I would like these lands a lot more. The art a lot more if the race cars weren't on them. If it was an empty road, I just think that would be more powerful than a race car. I've got to drop my opinion. Okay, an empty road is a more powerful visual than the race cars. And the Blossoming Sands has a dinosaur, so even though it is not a good land, I'm going to put it in my dinosaur deck. That is all.
Getting a chance to show off more scenes of the race meant that we get to show off more vistas of the planes that we're on, more of the vehicles that we've designed, and just sort of continue to build a sense of like this. How
the ship is okay. I think the airship is perfect. This is the most Treasure Island-ish, like I immediately start doing the Johnny Resnick song. I am a question to the world from Treasure Planet, that movie. That's my immediate vibe over here. I think the skyship is great.
And Yanni, how did you land on these lands in the common slot?
Yeah, these are always great to have for limited, for have some extra mana fixing, and I appreciate that the gain life aspect of them in making sure that the set doesn't end up too aggressive. A lot of the concerns we had around the set were of it ending up very aggressive, both because vehicles can sometimes tend that way, and also the racing theme of the set wanted us to really promote aggression and care about going fast. Yeah.
All right, and then let's take a look at one last set of lands to continue to give us that racing theme. So these are the full art driver's seat basic lands. Which literally put you in the driver's seat.
You're you're behind the wheel. Yeah, they look cool, but I don't know. That's what I want to do. I want to play my little piece of cardboard in front of me and feel like I'm behind the wheel.
The island is a pirate wheel.
Kind of. Oh my god.
Yep. The swamp is the exact vehicle. And
They look pretty though. Okay. It would be much better without the car. Yeah. I don't know, man.
All right. Now, of course, everybody's racing.
This is how I'm going to play Commander.
For
like
a
this.
Prize. We've talked about that prize before, but we've finally shown off the card today. So, Miguel, talk to us a little bit about the Aetherspark.
Yeah, so background on the Aetherspark.
Numbers!
This is a
It's got
Planeswalker
numbers!
that has been captured at the moment of manifestation, following a process devised by an inventor on Avishkar. The Aetherspark itself is suspended inside of this artifact. It was originally intended to be a tool that would allow the common person to traverse the multiverse, sort of a prototype, a proof of concept that this power could be made accessible to everyone. However, the creation kind of coincided with the opening of Omen Paths. So while like the Aetherspark is not obsolete, it's been rendered to be more of a like an exotic curiosity. It's a valuable artifact. It's
counters.
It's precious, but it's no longer as earth-shattering as it could have been. The story dives into the sort of the nuts and bolts of its creation as much as the story does. But it you know, it for us on the world building team, again, this is a Owen Path era story, and a spark is
dude, you can't attack it while it's equipped.
Say, like, curiosity in
you can't attack it while it's equipped,
and that is like an embodiment of a time before, and we thought it would be super interesting to have.
Yeah, it attaches if you have any creature. You've got to kill the creature to attack
this as a story hook for later. Spoiled a bit in its.
Dude, it says draw 2 cards on it,
and just
dude,
yeah, all in all, really fun to design around, a fun problem to have to figure out. How to bring it to life in art and in the story as well.
Seems good.
It also seemed like an interesting challenge to bring it to life as a card. Legendary artifact planeswalker equipment is not a type line we've seen before.
No.
Does die to artifact removal, but nobody plays that.
Yeah, so this came out a little bit later in the design process when we locked in on really wanting to center this as the prize of the race.
I mean, black is the best color in Standard most of the time, or red-green aggro, but they don't have artifact removal at all.
But also
I guess it dies to paw patch formation.
Attain. So thought a lot about all the ways that a creature could become.
You can just sideboard it out.
Could show that, but it's pretty difficult to turn a permanent.
This can't be a commander, can it?
There's a lot of rules baggage.
It can't be.
Whereas this has.
It can be a brawl commander.
Baggage. You could already use a combination of cards to end up equipping a planeswalker to your creature, and the rules just kind of work for that. So this design.
Paw patch formation's not artifacts. See? Nobody runs artifact removal
for these abilities that are somewhat generic in their output, and I like that just shows anyone could get this power and use it to do whatever it is they're looking to do.
Yeah, which is draw.
I do want to add one other thing. On the creative end, we're thinking of for sort of spurring people to compete in the race. What is a prize that would drive people to compete in a death race?
What would
right?
drive you to
race? To be, very locally powerful in that it can't change in this set. It can't change the direction of the multiverse, right? But it can certainly be a locus, a thing of gravity around which an entire story can hinge. So the Aether Spark, had to fill that role as well creatively.
Yeah. And the Aether Spark is also the second card in our new Headliner series, where we take one card and really blow it out and do special things. In this case, you saw that there is a serialized version of 100 of the Aether Spark. Those are findable in collector boosters. Now, of course, other versions of the Aether Spark are available in all places.
Dude, serialized, baby.
Normal, mythic, rare. All right.
The Headliner.
Saw someone in chat asking where the vehicles are.
They don't have. We don't. No. Don't ask these things.
We have a whole section here.
Don't get them started.
We're going to dive into mechanics now, and we anticipated this. This is the first mechanic we're going to talk about. So let's start talking about mechanics and vehicles and mounts specifically. So, Mark, let's start with you.
Okay, so we're doing a racing set. And one of the things we decided very early on is it's a travelogue. We want the worlds to show up. We want, we have the Gearhulk. We wanted to see the characters and places and things of the world showing up. But first and foremost, it is a racing set. It is about racing. And I mean, top of the line, what does that mean? Vehicles have to matter. We knew that part of doing a racing set is we wanted vehicles to matter. And the way we thought of it is, look, there's a spectrum. There's the low end of the spectrum. So what's the least number of vehicles? 0. Sets have 0. We made sets with 0. But what is the most? And
what's the most? To the top.
This set is that upper end of the spectrum. I don't know what it is. I knew that Yanni and Play Design and a lot of other teams would have to figure out the right amount. But I knew that whatever we were at, we should be near the top of what was doable.
200
Not that
vehicles.
I understood exactly how much was doable. So
easy.
What we did is we spent a lot of time in vision design saying, okay, how do we make a lot of vehicles? So we came up with a few things we had to do. One was we made the conclusion that we shouldn't try to make a vehicle deck.
Yeah. No?
It's just too hard to do. There's a lot of, because vehicles need creatures, but it causes a lot of problems.
Whoa, Commander community says, hold my beer.
So that many, many different decks could play a handful of vehicles. And so the idea was you would see a lot of vehicles show up in Standard, not that any one Standard deck was nothing but vehicles.
Sure.
number two, we said, in order for that to be true, we need vehicles to have a secondary purpose, because what we've learned looking at all the we spend a lot of time looking at what we've done before in vehicles, and the real
Vehicles that
successful
are
were, hey,
planeswalkers.
there's something else about them that has a purpose.
Vehicles that
Maybe
are
they have
removal
battlefield
spells.
effects, so they act like a spell.
Vehicles that
Maybe
are
they
ramp
do
spells.
something before they turn into a vehicle. They produce mana or something, but it needed a secondary purpose.
Vehicles that draw cards.
And the third thing we were always looking at is it also helps if there's more ways to turn them into creatures than just crew. Yeah, most of them should have crew.
Vehicles that don't need crews.
But one of the ways we can really
Self-driving
make
cars.
different decks care is giving you alternate ways to turn them into vehicles. And so we really explored that. And so those three vectors, we spent a lot of time, and a lot of what we did in Vision was just trying what are all the different secondary ways we can do things? What are all the different ways we can turn them in?
Yeah.
And then give set design just a suite of things we could do so they could pick and choose what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the heart of how to make vehicles matter.
Now, I'm not sure if this happened in Vision or set design or somewhere in between, but this set also includes
I hope you're
mounts,
excited, guys.
Yeah, that was in Vision.
Okay.
So the interesting story here, a lot of people are like, why'd you bring this mechanic back so quickly? And I'm like, that is not what happened. We were trying to solve the problem.
No, that's kind of what happened.
That some people would want to ride things, and so we said, okay, let's see if we can solve that. And the way we
want to
solved
ride
it in
bikes.
this set was to make it like an offshooting of crew. That's the easiest way to do it, because we wanted cards that care about crewing. Well, what if we made a riding mechanic was kind of like crew? Meanwhile, a completely different team, ironically, that I also read the vision for, was Outlaws of Thunder Junction. And they were trying to solve the problem from a different vantage point, which is, hey, we have a Western theme. Cowboys riding horses is about as Western as it gets.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to solve the problem in a different way. They being me and the team that did, we solved it in a different way, which is a lot more top-down. When I say it was mutate-ish, it wasn't quite as complicated as mutate, but you put the creature on the horse. They became one creature shared together, and it was just a more complicated version of what we were trying to do. And once we did it here, it was clear that we shouldn't do the same thing a year apart in completely different ways. And we just came up with the cleaner, easier, more intuitive to learn thing. And so we went and talked. Dave Humphreys was the set design lead for that, and we said, look, let's not do it two different ways. Let's just do it this way. So they were first, so they introduced mounts. But mounts actually got designed by this team and then moved over to Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Mounts got designed by the Aetherdrift team and used in Thunder Junction because Mark was trying to make Mutate 2.0. And they said, whoa, buddy. Just take this mechanic. We already fixed it for you.
While we didn't want to focus so much on cramming all the vehicles into one deck, we did know some people would mostly just want to draft all the vehicles, thinking about that, and put it all together. So bundling together mounts and vehicles was a good way to ensure that even if you just drew all your cards that were part of this bucket, you would still be able to do some crewing. This is a good example of a card that bundles together mounts and vehicles. The green, white, and red, white limited archetypes are especially about filling your decks with mounts and vehicles, and cards like this that reward you for that.
Perfect.
This is fine, right?
Saddle,
it's okay. You
they're
can't
already
mount
creatures,
anything.
right?
Have
So
we mounted
the
anything
key
in
to crewing is
standard?
you
Not
turn it
really,
into a
right?
creature.
Yeah.
So the value of saddle had to be, well, the creature is better in some way because you're doing that. And
The
normally
snake,
what we wanted to
I
do
guess?
is really encourage you to attack with it, because that's the whole point, the reason to saddle it.
Yep.
And so we tend to give them attack triggers and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then another big part of getting vehicles in limited was giving every color pair an uncommon.
I mean, it's limited, right?
With the exception of green-white. This is green-white's vehicle because flavorfully they're all about riding mounts.
That's a great segue because our next two cards are some of those uncommon gold vehicles. So we've got Rocketeer Boost Buggy and Ranger's Ether Hive. All right, tell us how
The art is popping.
Yeah,
it
so
just
both feature the
it feels like it's from a whole other game. It's kind of
They're
wild.
both good examples of how vehicles do
Like
a
you
thing,
show this card to
when
somebody
you're not
10 years
doing them
ago,
normally.
their head
The
would
red green one
explode.
has an ability that turns it into a creature. without
Future
using
Sight
crew,
couldn't have
and the
predicted
green
this.
Blue one has just a static ability on the battlefield that will generate creatures that can help you crew it.
I'll also point out, we haven't talked about these yet, but we've got the borderless revved up cards. You're going to see these on a lot of vehicles.
Why is Saddle at sorcery speed, but Crew is instant speed?
In both play boosters and collector boosters.
It's a real question.
All right. Now, we're going to next reveal the best card in the set, bar none. The name's great. The effect is great. This card is
I called it.
Perfect. So,
I called it.
Well done.
So the funny thing about this is, so when I made Evoke many years ago, the very first card I made to prove Evoke work was Mole Drifter. And so when we were making vehicles, one of the, I don't know if the absolute first, but one of the very first suite of ones we made, we called it Mole Drifter. It absolutely became Mole Drifter.
Mole Space Drifter. That's so good too.
And so this card, I mean, it's been tweaked, but
I remember
this card
Mole
is one of the
Drifter.
earliest vehicles we made, because we knew that one of the ways to make cool vehicles was to give them a cool enters effect, right? Like, in some ways, if you have a cool spell and you get a lot of value out of the spell, then okay, the vehicle doesn't have to carry as much weight because hey, you got a lot of equity right off the bat. And card drawing is awesome, and so. I mean, I think
those are not the same vehicle. That was our two very different models of the same vehicle.
Convincing people to put vehicles
Who
in their
is-
decks can be challenging. They have the fail case where you don't have creatures to crew them. And so we deliberately
Who's
made
this?
many vehicles that are callbacks to classic cards so that people would immediately understand
What's
what
going
their
on?
value was
Have that
and why they want them in
connection
their
to it.
deck. Yep.
Absolutely.
Drawing cards still good.
Yep.
Drawing cards.
I believe I saw this character
supported
on a
with
very
them.
old Star Trek.
Okay, now you talked about them vehicles mostly having like other uses, but there were. Is there one, two that?
I think it's literally one.
Literally one.
that
Okay, this
we
this
have
one
here.
that we're gonna show.
Smurf.
My rule at the end of design was for every vehicle, I wanted to have an answer. So what are you doing this when you aren't just crewing it? That can be an enters ability, a static ability. This ended up being the only exception for when your white-based limited decks just want to have more vehicles. You've drafted a lot of the cards that let you crew or help your vehicles.
Okay.
This is here to float around to you. But for the most part,
Doesn't
or for
look
the
like a
entirety,
very
this
safe
kind of
ride.
vehicle is not what you're going to see.
Yeah.
They are doing other things.
No seatbelts.
Now we have gone. I don't want to say light on vehicles, but we've shown some uncommons and common vehicles. Obviously, vehicles are a big part of this. There's going to be mythic ones, including Valor's flagship. This is a doozy, and
It's
also, like you
Independence
mentioned,
Day.
a callback.
Yep.
Aliens.
Yeah, so we really appreciated the cycling ability here. Cycling.
Why
is
would you-
returning
why
in
does
the
it-
set.
it cycles?
I personally like it because it helps. It's a thing we can put on vehicles. So that you can cycle
Ex-pilots.
them when you're not able to crew them, and it just helps you find the right mix of cards that you need, which when you have a lot of vehicles in your deck is extra important.
Okay.
Also, I should point out very early on, cycling is for Amonkhet, had cycling in it, and the funny thing is, cycling normally, the name is very generic, and so cycling almost never ever means anything flavorfully. But like we were making the racing set, like everybody just wanted to have cycling.
Yeah.
And like I said, mechanically, it's a great fit. Cycling fits in a lot of places well.
Get it?
In
'Cause
design, we
motorcycles.
tried a bunch of variants on it. I think we had bicycling.
It's
and
a grease fang
motorcycling.
card.
We ended up just
100%.
doing cycling, but there's something. It's kind of funny to me that like there's something about cycling finally finding its own as a flavor in a place where like okay now the flavor finally can tie in, which cycling doesn't really get it.
Shark Tornado
Miguel, I
2.0.
did see a question in chat asking
Dice
who or
removal?
what
Not
is
really.
Valor.
Nobody's going to cast this ever.
Oh, Valor! This is the flagship of the Cloudspire racing team. So Valor is a character that we have not revealed yet, but is quite important to the people of Kylan and Cloudspire racing.
Okay.
Very cool.
Sneaky
and of course,
Valor.
The callback here on the cycling is
Decree of Justice.
Decree of Justice for old people like me.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so now we are going to move into our next mechanic.
Why does a ship have lifelink?
Start your engines. So Mark, tell us.
Maybe
about
we
where
all
this
get,
idea originated.
eat really
So
nice
the
food on
concept
board.
was
It's like a cruise ship.
okay, we had the racers. The vehicles were the racers, but we wanted to represent the race. And so we really wanted a mechanic that said, okay, how do we feel like racing? What can we do that like feels like a race?
Yeah.
And this mechanic went through a bunch of changes. Early on, like the very, very earliest version of this, when you would start a race, everybody would join the race, basically. And then the first person to win would win. I think like you won a treasure or something when you won. And the idea was we liked the idea of 3 legs because there's 3 worlds and each world's a leg. And so we really tied this whole thing. Over time, it got simplified a lot,
Yeah.
as is often the case the vision design.
This is the
most flavorful,
simplified
most
version.
complex version of it. And then as it gets fine-tuned through set design, play design, it gets sort of it gets simplified a bit to make it a little more what you need to do and less complicated.
Yeah.
But the idea really is, okay, how do we make you mad about a race? Like, there's a mechanic that just cares, and this is all about speed, right? You just want to increase your speed.
Yep.
And
We Marvel Snap?
The other thing that was
I don't
important
know.
was
Is Marvel Snap
we didn't
Marvel
want a
Snap?
mini game that took away from the game ending. Like, a lot of times we've tested mini games, and it's like, okay, stop playing your normal game of Magic, go do this other thing, and then when you're done, come back. And all it did was just extend the game. So we said, okay, well, what if we made what this was doing something that just ended the game? So we made it about attacking. And we realized that racing, the idea of like your vehicles attacking felt very much like racing, felt like it matched. So it all sort of came together. I mean, Yannick could talk a little bit about
It is kind of weird that you have to hurt people to increase your speed.
I really appreciated that this gets you attacking. It makes you care about doing stuff early in the game. In Magic, when we talk about speed, we're usually talking about being aggressive and attacking early in the game, and this is what the mechanic rewards. But I also appreciate that the actual rewards we put on the card,
Seems
like this
slow,
ability that lets you
weird,
draw
right?
cards,
4
are
turns.
more helpful for the late game.
Sure.
It also helps bridge there's a weirdness with the flavor of a death race, where in moment to moment, it's very much about going fast and being speedy, but it takes place over multiple days, and it's a war of attrition. The max speed abilities helping you in a longer game both help make it so that limited isn't entirely about games ending quickly, and show those things that help you get through a race of attrition.
Limited isn't
Now, I
about
do
games
see some
ending
questions
quickly.
about how the mechanic works in chat. First of all, your best source for those sorts of rules things, there's going to be at the conclusion of this stream on dailymtg.com a mechanics article, Aetherdrift Mechanics.
It doesn't
it'll
take
spell
4
out
turns.
exactly how
Yeah,
this
it
works.
does.
But real quick, couple questions. So. When you start your engines, that's just for you, not for your opponent,
Correct.
correct?
Just for you, yeah.
It starts with 1.
When you hit max speed, that's
Then
just
the
it's
next
like a
turn,
threshold
it can
mechanic.
go
You're
to
there for the rest of the
2.
game.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
like kind of like.
Then
the
on
game
your
last
next
game.
turn, it can go
the
to
idea is you have to
3.
count sort of you have to get up to 3.
Then on your
basically,
next
but then
turn, it can
don't worry
go
about
to
it, you're there.
4.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any ways to lose speed?
No.
There's one
okay.
that
Okay.
we'll see
Sorry.
soon.
Okay.
But I don't expect that to be a part of gameplay.
Okay, that's an exception rather than
yeah.
Okay. All right.
And so, yeah, the way I like to think about it is you just need to make your opponent lose life on 3 of your turns. Once you start tracking your speed, you're at 1. You can immediately go up to 2 on that same turn. Your next turn, you can go up to 3 and then up to 4.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's move on to our next preview card with Start Your Engines, and this one is a doozy because Hazoret Godseeker has joined the race. First of all, before we get into the mechanics of this card, Miguel, why does a god care about this race?
The race goes through Hazoret's plane, so Hazoret's going to care about it. I could dive into a bit about Amonkhet right now. It's a plane in sort of a tough position, right? This it's connected to Avishkar by a relatively stable own path. Avishkar is doing its big sort of like soft power diplomatic push in order to insulate itself from the threats of the multiverse. Part of that, a big plank of that is the expansion of the Gearper Grand Prix out to across multiple planes.
Hazoret is
you
back.
can see in the background there, there's a racetrack going through Avishkar, right? Going through Amonkhet. Amonkhet, as I mentioned, is in a tough position. They're free of Bolus. They're free of the Phyrexian invasion. They are free, but they are on their own until Avishkar comes around. And as they're in a position where they're basically willing to accept,
that's true,
right? This race coming through and involving ancient ruins and going across their lands in exchange for like it's a messy but mutually beneficial, like imperfect help to shore them up now in order to face the unknowns of their newly liberated home. So Hazoret is going out from Noctimoon
this will be in standard. I don't know, man.
Seeking other deities.
Doesn't do anything for 3 turns.
Maybe not. May or may not be.
Assuming everything's going well. I mean, imagine when a turn comes where you don't damage your opponent.
Using the sort of the forward advance of the Gearper Grand Prix to help them do that.
All right. Yanni, back to you on mechanics on this. This is a 2-mana indestructible haste 5/3.
Yep. Yeah. This is one that is definitely rewarding you for getting your speed up very quickly. In the debut video, we saw Vin Wixit and Mendicant Core, which are legends that are more about having a strong max speed ability that'll carry you for the entire rest of the game and give you staying power. But this one is really rewarding you for being aggressive, and I've seen this thing attacking on turn 4 if you have the right combination.
Oh my! Of turn 4,
seriously,
attacking.
Yeah, red decks don't care about attacking at all.
Yeah, and just to point
Holy
out,
cow!
we knew that the
Your 2-drop can attack on turn 4, guys. Lose your mind.
But one of the things one of the reasons to do a travelogue in the first place is, hey, we are on 3 different worlds, and that it's the individual card design, sometimes the cycle design, that really sort of shows that off. And so this is a good example where, hey, we're visiting Amonkhet. Yeah, I mean, okay, a lot of the gods didn't make it through the original Amonkhet, but one of them did. And so we get to see him. So
Dust died and nowhere to run. God, that's true. Oh
No.
no.
It's not a yellow border. It is a gold foiling. Revisit that video. All right. Let's move on to our next mechanic. We've already seen it in some of the cards we were looking at, but we haven't talked about it. Exhaust. So we'll put up Rocketeer Boost Buggy again. Where did exhaust come from? What are we trying to do with this?
Well, so if you read my article next week, I'll do the long version of this. I'll just say the story begins, we started with energy, and we ended with exhaust. So,
whoa.
For the full story, I'll talk about that in my article next week. But
that's a big difference.
This was not, exhaust happened in set design. We did not hand off exhaust. We handed off energy. But exhaust is something that we've talked about for a long time. So I mean, Yanni can get, this is a mechanic we've messed around with for many years.
Okay. Yeah, it comes probably closest to the monstrous ability, or adapt, where you just one time pay some mana to make your creature stronger. This did start out as energy. We loved the idea of a mechanic representing fuel and all the powerful things people were doing to fuel their vehicles and bring powerful moments to the race.
They should have called it Nas.
Energy mechanic, we tried a lot of different versions of it and moved to something that was somewhat similar to this exhaust mechanic, where you're usually paying mana in addition to energy costs for a big one-time ability. That didn't work out for some reasons, and now we end up
Why is it called exhaust? It makes the thing better.
The most broad version of
exhaust seems like a negative byproduct.
Where we can really give you any effect that you're using once per game. Usually on commons and uncommons, it's on creatures that get stronger or vehicles that turn into creature, and it uses counters to track it. Some of the effects on rares and mythics are a lot splashier and aren't using anything to track it, and we just think they're splashy enough. You're going to remember this happened.
Like our next card.
Yep.
Good transition there, Yanni.
So this Draconautics Engineer shows both sides of that. It's got
a missile on a goblin on a dragon.
It uses a counter to track that you've used it, as well as a more expensive ability of making a 4/4 flying dragon dinosaur that you're probably going to remember having used.
Because it's there, and it's probably attacking for 4 in the air.
Yep.
And this is a good example. Magic has done once per game effects before.
Yeah.
But this is really sort of consolidating it, giving
not
a name
a
to
missile.
And
okay,
you can
dude.
notice, by the way, the reason we call it exhaust is, I think originally this was called turbo. And turbo was like a great racing term, but we knew we liked it so much, like we wanted to use it in other places. And turbo was a lot harder to use in random places than exhaust.
Yeah.
So.
And giving it a name was very helpful mechanically, as we saw in the green-blue vehicle. It said whenever you used an exhaust ability, if this was just an unnamed ability where it just said use this only once, we wouldn't be able to refer to it that way.
Other creatures get haste and put a counter on it, and then 4 mana make a 4/4?
Cards that reward you for using those abilities.
I don't know. It doesn't have haste.
Because we do have a green card. Correct me, is this the only way to get multiple exhausts out of a single card? Okay, so let's see this. An Elvish Refueler.
Yeah, so this
refueler.
Lets you,
the elves have purple hair, goggles, and they refuel things. Okay.
Already used.
Okay.
There are other ways to use them again. If the creature leaves the battlefield and then returns to the battlefield, it's an entirely new card by the game rules, so you will be able to use this again. But this, in limited, is doing a lot to let you reuse your abilities to fuel your strategy.
Very cool. Like the concept here. It's a refueler. That's great. Okay. We already teased that. All right, so that covers it for mechanics, but that doesn't mean we're done with preview cards, because we just got sort of a pile of 4 cards that are cool.
Yeah.
They're
There are some
great.
cool cards in the set.
I'm an
There's
old
cool cards in
man.
the set.
I get shocked
Uh,
sometimes.
And we haven't talked about Murganda.
I don't recognize the world I live in sometimes.
Next card, but with some of these.
Let alone the made-up
First
worlds.
up, this is a card that's definitely going to turn some heads because it is reminiscent of a pretty powerful card. So let's take a look at Repurposing Bay. Yanni, tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this is letting you turn your artifacts into other artifacts from your deck with a mana
It's a
value
pod.
higher, letting you churn through
It's
your
a
deck.
birthing pod.
It works very well with the vehicles in the set. A lot
It's
of which
pod
access to
racing.
battlefield
I
effects.
get it.
And the white, blue, and blue-black limited archetypes focus a lot on artifacts, so this plays a lot into those strategies.
Okay. Was this always blue?
Yes, it was always blue. Definitely trying to be a reference to Birthing Pod, but with artifacts.
This is waiting
Now,
to be
Birthing Pod is a
broken.
pretty dangerous place.
I don't know. 2
Tinker is a pretty
activates too
dangerous
much.
place. You're smashing all these cards together. How do we feel about this this card going into?
Yeah, shout out to Play Design
Urza
for
love
sticking
it.
with me for this one.
Emery,
Admittedly, a
in
lot of
Brawl,
our
I'm gonna
most
play it in my
competitive players
Paradox
have a lot of
Engine decks
nostalgia for
easy.
Birthing Pod.
Yep.
Why
So
not?
they were happy to put this card through its paces, which was very needed.
Will be off the. This will 30 seconds from now. Someone will have thought of some combos. from
Yes.
this, and they'll be all over.
30 seconds. Dude, they don't
No, this
understand
card
Magic
looks really
players.
Sweet. I'm excited to try this out in a couple different decks. Next up, we have a returning card that I don't think anyone would have called, but it's awesome. So let's see the return of Bloodghast.
Yeah, returning is right. This card
Look at
ended
this
up here
art.
because one of the play designers,
Look at
Ben
this
White, came
art.
to me and said I thought it'd be really cool in Pioneer, and I was like, sure, I'll put it in the set. Probably somebody will tell me not to, and in the end, nobody told me not to. I mostly appreciate
Wow.
it because he's actually pretty good at crewing vehicles. He always comes back from the graveyard when you need him.
Wow.
We saw in the debut
Bloodghast
video a
in
black
standard.
vehicle that has
Wow.
crew 2 and wants you to discard cards, so it's great friends with this guy. I also appreciated the Vampire Spirit type line. That didn't really make any sense in what we've seen of Avishkar or Amonkhet. So it was nice to have Muruganda as a bit more of a wild card plane where I could just go to creative and be like, can I have a Vampire Spirit somewhere? And they're like, sure, it exists on Muruganda.
Yeah, Miguel, tell us Bloodghast.
When did Bloodghast
Muruganda
become all teeth with big
Yeah,
ears?
so,
Oh my God.
Muruganda is, I think I said it up top, and if I didn't say it, I was thinking it. Muruganda, like one of the benefits of coming to a place like not entirely blank page, but having like a couple guardrails is that we can really, on the world building creative side, just do
This
a
is
ton
dope.
to say like
This is dope.
to throw forward,
Okay.
right? To
It's
future
not
set,
for
make
me.
it a future sets problem. Basically being like, yeah, that sounds cool. Muruganda does have spirit vampires. Miguel, in X number of years, figure out what that means. And
Wow.
I'm very excited to do
Just
that.
throwing the
We have so
story,
much about Muruganda
throwing the
that,
story team under the bus.
I personally worked on, and a few other folks worked on as well, that is like cutting room floor for the set, but will live on, on teams. And,
I think of Muruganda as a over set.
So what are
Like Future
what are
Sight
the
doesn't
best
use
ways
it.
to dump?
here.
Thank you, Holy, for the
there's
gifty.
dinosaurs, and then we made Mimisaur. Hey, there's oozes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
What are the best ways to dump Bloodghast
Mark,
in the
I know
graveyard?
You talked about keywords returning here and there every
Yeah.
once in a while. This card says landfall.
Yes.
How do you feel about
Yeah,
that?
you have
Well, so
landfall in the
there's two
set.
things going on.
What?
Yeah.
One is we've just upped the number of what we call deciduous mechanics.
Yeah.
Even though cycling is an official part of the set in a much bigger way, cycling, landfall, flashback, there's just some mechanics that we've sort of said, hey, these are just such key mechanics. When we bring them back, we can bring them back a small number. They're just very useful.
Yeah.
They show up in foundations and stuff like that. So there's that. The other thing is the set we've started doing a lot more what we call cameos. And what a cameo is, it says, usually at a higher rarity, we'll do one of old mechanics that just are very flavorful and make a lot of sense. In
Sure.
this particular place, hey, we have a bunch of worlds that we've been to before that we can make reference to. And so, not that Landfall specifically is this, but there are definitely some cameos of Avishkar and Amonkhet.
I like cameos. I like member berries. Member berries are fun. I need to know if when we go to Muruganda someday, there's going to be a lot of vampire spirits that look like what am I looking at? What is that? I don't recognize Bloodghast. what is that creature?
Thought about
It's
doing
something
similar
else.
things,
It's
basically
honestly,
some counters, but in the end we decided
it's like a dead loot, is what it is,
the cool thing to do.
Sweet.
with more teeth.
Now we've got a removal spell that's actually pretty good friends with Blood Gas.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at Quag Feast. Yanni, tell us about this one.
Yeah, this is mostly here to support the black-green archetype, which is about filling your...
Choose target creature, planeswalker, or vehicle, mill 2 cards, then destroy the chosen permanent if its mana value is less than or equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. Sick. Mill and removal.
set to the strong vehicles we're providing.
All right. Yeah, very cool. Simple, interesting removal spell, but if you mill a Bloodghast, you've done the thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
One thing we always look at is whatever our theme is, in this case, vehicles is the theme, you'll just see us making a lot more referencing, and both positive and negative. Like, there'll be more answers to it, but also there'll be more...
I think this is a good commander card and a 1 or 2 of in standard. It also depends on whether or not vehicles take off. But I mean, if you want, like, the fact that you get graveyard and removal, sorcery's fine.
Aganosaur Rex. I spent all last night pronouncing dinosaur names to our kids, so I'm
Dino!
We've got an 8/8 Trampler for 5 mana with cycling that does a thing when it cycles.
Yeah, so Muruganda had a few things we wanted to reference. But the biggest thing of all is just being...
5 mana, 8/8 trample, all upside. All upside. Why would you ever cycle this? Come on. Are you kidding? This is what we have now. 5 mana, 8/8 trample, all upside. I played Jusum Jin in the day and liked it.
One of the things this set does is it does a lot of traditional cycling, but also there's a lot of the generate effect when you cycle. So it sort of like makes it kind of a modal card because I can get the creature or I can kind of get a spell out of it.
Yeah.
Colossal Dreadmaw is
All right.
cooked.
That covers
It's over.
all the preview cards we have. We have a couple minutes if people have questions. You can put them in chat, tag @Magic, so it's easier for me to see. Reminder, we are talking about Aetherdrift. I'm only going to answer questions, or these people are going to answer questions. I'm not going to answer them. About Aetherdrift. If it's about another topic, we'll cover that another time. But if you have questions about Aetherdrift, about how a mechanic works, about a card, or where things are found, different treatments are found, any of that sort of stuff, we will try to answer them with the few minutes we have
We're Q&A-ing
left.
We're in Q&A time.
So let's see, are there... they say, are there anime cards in this set?
Are there anime cards?
There are Japan
Yes,
showcase
there
cards
is.
in this set. So for that, to learn more about that,
Where
there's
are
going
they?
to be a
Show me one.
Aetherdrift article. It already exists. It's going to get updated, or maybe it's already been updated.
We have
Again,
anime
on
cards.
dailymtg.com.
They haven't shown us anime
More
cards, but
about
there are
that.
anime cards.
All right, let's see.
The weebs are fed.
What else? This is going fast. Lots of great questions. All right. Speed question. Can you track speed if you have a speed card that entered the battlefield and then left, or do those cards need to be present to gain speed?
Yes, you'll continue tracking speed as soon as you control a permanent with the start your engines mechanic. Your speed will be tracked.
Okay. Is there a way for us
Boom.
to track
Thank you, Cole.
exhaust in pre-release kits?
Good question. I'm not...
Normally, the pre-release kits have some punch-out stuff.
Yeah.
And my gut is, I don't definitively know this, there is something in that you probably could use to reference it. But I've not. I just know there's punch-outs in all the pre-release boxes.
Yeah, I don't remember where that ended up. And I will say that the set was tested in paper using exhaust cards.
Yeah.
And so we were very aware of the tracking burden and making sure that the individual designs and the way the set played out was reasonable.
I love ongoing
well,
day-night
you said
mechanics.
that,
At least these don't
is it
update on their
all or
own. You just
almost all
have
of the
to,
exhaust
like,
cards
you
have
kind of
some sort
update it
counter
only
or
on your
something
turn.
that
Yeah, I believe all the
physically
ones at common and uncommon.
Okay.
At higher rarities, they might not.
And the high rarity ones also usually do something so big in scope that it's hard to forget that you did this giant thing in scope.
Right.
All right. I saw a question about which boosters you can get.
This
with
set was
art
tested by
in.
commander players.
So just real quick.
Everyone's a commander player, sorry.
So the first place foil. So the foiling.
You just don't
I
know it
there
yet.
Are questions about the foiling. Producer Sean, if we can maybe put that foiling video back up.
Yeah, put that foiling
The
video up.
first place
Look
foiling
at
cards,
that.
Those are found in
That's
the
what they
box
look like.
toppers. The Japan Showcase, which we didn't show any here, but the Japan Showcase, those are found in collector boosters. The serialized headliner, also found in collector boosters. That's just the Aether Spark, just the out of 500 version. And then extended art, as always, is found in collector booster. All the other art, so the Rude Riders, the Revved Up, the Graffiti Giant, the Borderless, those can be found in both play boosters and collector boosters. So most everything that you saw in alt art, the art is going to be available in either one.
It's going to be hard to collect all of those gold cards.
Back to chat's question.
They're only like the box topper, right? According to that.
Is there any way to gain more than 1 speed per turn?
No.
No.
Play the card, go to 1 speed. You can still gain the 1 speed that turn to go to 2 the turn you play it.
You can possibly 2 if everything's perfect.
No.
No.
Okay, so it's only once per turn you can get. All right.
Right.
All right. I think we answered this earlier, but it's good to reiterate. Can the exhaust ability be used again if the card blinks out?
Yes. Once the card leaves the battlefield and returns, it's an entirely new object, and you can use the ability again.
Ah, see? Get around it. Easy.
We've seen that every color pair has vehicle signpost uncommons, except for white-green, which is saddle. Are there any non-vehicle signposts?
Only white-green is
Yes.
saddle?
In addition to the 9 vehicles and 1 Legoran, there are 10 more gold uncommons, which are not vehicles.
All right. Let's see. Are we going to see more familiar legendary creatures return? We saw a few here. We saw Basri. We saw Hazaret. Should we expect more?
Yeah, there's at least 1 or 2 returning characters that we have not indicated.
Of course there is.
In my teaser, I said that there were 4 Desparked Planeswalkers. We haven't seen all of them yet. And there are definitely characters from the world, especially Avishkar and Amonkhet, because people would know the characters from those worlds.
I saw Gonti in the
There's a
art.
character from Muruganda, we might see again. So yeah, characters you might recognize are showing up. So there are some familiar faces because part of going to the worlds is seeing some familiar faces.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to ask this question because I saw this comment a little bit about the UB.
Kellen,
Black Blue
God,
Gear
oh my
Hulk.
God.
Why does the Black Blue Gear Hulk look so much worse than the others? I saw a lot of comments in that space.
Why does it
But when
look
you all
worse?
handed off like these are the cards that we believe are going to be like the top tier. The Blue Black Gear Hulk was up there.
Yeah, I believe in that Gear Hulk.
Yeah.
It's a 4-power card, so a lot less expensive than the 6-mana one.
Yep.
It does a lot of different things. You can target yourself to get some card selection. You can target.
It
your
looks so
opponent to
big,
make
though.
sure They don't have the removal.
looks so
that'll
big.
Be able to get this Gear Hulk
But
off the board.
its stats are the same as Sahili's. Because Sahili's a 4/4.
There's a lot of stuff on the board.
Well, especially at 4/4. Yeah, a lot of people have not played with Vendilion Click, and
It doesn't have flash. If it had flash, it'd be too much of a banger.
All right. Let's see. Will we see all the gods from Amonkhet?
All is a big word.
No, we will not. But we will. We see Hazard obviously because we previewed that. We also will meet some new gods that we haven't seen before.
Yep. All right. One last question. I'm gonna do this as a little bit of a tease because we were talking about it before the stream started. So this one's going to Miguel. It just says Garrick ?
Garrick, yeah,
they're
always
referencing
believing.
a piece of art.
Yeah.
That looks kind of like Garrick.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I want to keep my job so I can.
Okay. Wow, basically,
But no.
blink if you're being held hostage.
Yeah, if you think that that's as familiar.
Nope, that's a blink.
Then these are the questions that we like to ask. I like to prompt people to ask during world building. So.
All right, well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning in. Previews for Aetherdrift are going to be going on this week.
Dude, bring back Nadu.
And next.
Nadu and Standard. Let's go. Let's do it.
Right about now. For all kinds of information, more on mechanics, more on collecting, more preview cards, design stories, all of that sort of stuff, head to dailymtg.com right now. Otherwise, next week, we're going to get back and we're going to be focusing on special guests and some of the awesome art in this set. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, they're done, guys. It's over. The stream is ended. They don't have outro music. Disaster. Did we update the Scryfall for Aetherdrift? Nope, not really. Not yet, but they will. They always update a little slower, but they get there. All right, daily MTG. You got some announcements. Yeah, Scryfall, not that fast. Yeah, you're right. Want Athasa's Oracle, kids? Why is this right here? Oh, Festival Inbox. I was like, oh, that's a big announcement for a card. That would be a big one. The 4 most important things to know. Borderless serialized Aetherspark. Ba-bomb. First place foils. Here's Chandra looking yellow. Guys, I may be working on sponsored Aetherdrift stuff. I may have gotten my hands on some of this. It does look better. It looks good in person. It looks bad on the internet. I do not argue that. I cannot argue that it looks bad on the internet, but in person is better. It is better. Okay? Japanese showcases. Oh, guys. Oh, it's back. Oh, the shiny is back. Yep. Big damn loot alert. Oh my goodness. Special guests. Just they go and just put this out there. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They just put this out there. They just want you to know. My God. Is that not beautiful? That is a beautiful card. Holy cow. Chrome Mox. Special guest. Wow. Now where... We got lands. Oh, hold on. Ah, yes. Now I'm much more hyped. I feel so much better after doing this. Okay. What else we got? Showcase cards. Yep. Special guests. Yep. Shinies. The gold ones are going to be really hard because, right, these are only in box toppers. And the box toppers, there's a lot of them. It looks like most of the rares and mythics from the set. And these are, like, extra rare because they're special guests. So, like, getting these are going to be really rare. Is Chrome Mox in standard? No. Any card that is a special guest, you can tell because it has it down here or a different set symbol. This set symbol is not standard legal, but it does get added to Arena as a craftable and openable card. And that does mean it is Brawl legal. They want you to buy cases. They do? Is this what they mean by capitalism? Oh my God. Does everybody know about this? We gotta tell people. Hold on, I gotta make a video now. The lands, man. So these lands, you can start your engines on turn 1 with these lands. Look at that. Look at that. They want you to get to max speed on turn like 4 or 5. They really want max speed to be possible. But look at these abilities. Target creature gains haste just for a tap. Discard a card, draw a card's kind of It's really slow in current Magic, but it's not bad. Then there's this. Freaking Ancient Tomb, you guys. It taps for 2 colorless. Ginger Brute. Yeah, okay. Yep. You're already cooking. There you go. Interesting. Interesting. Where'd they talk about the Japanese cards again? They're showing the loots. Fractured foils. Huh. Interesting. All right, guys. There's a lot of comments on this stream about the art. A lot of comments about the art styles. I mean, the one that resonates with me, one person specifically, but I think a few of you have expressed it just doesn't look like Magic anymore, right? Right? Anybody feeling that? Because I'm old, right? I played in the 90s. I look at these. I get it. Anybody have that vibe a little bit? Yeah. So I developed a superpower. I want to share it with you guys because it does help. People will leave a lot of comments on my videos that I'm not having enough fun, but god damn it, Arena is freaking spiky, okay? And I have always been a salty bitch in a way. That's just who I am. So at the core, I wouldn't still be doing this if it weren't fun. And I still enjoy collecting. And it's okay. If it's okay, these cards can exist, like with the different arts and stuff that maybe you don't enjoy as much as traditional Magic. They can still be out there. They can still be out there. I've learned to not be upset by them because I just don't collect them unless I want them. So like if this is not your jam, I'm going to show you how I collect. So this is my foundation set. Look, Tiny Bones. Wow. All right. All I do, I try to get one of the regular arts, and I just collect them by set number. And I like to get the foils, but I start with the non-foils. Like sometimes there'll be non-foils in a binder like this, and I just get the regulars. And when you get to the back, you're not gonna find the special borderless. You're not going to find like the anime. You might find some of the special guests I happen to open. But this is how I try to get like every set. See? That's the end. There's these are the special guests. I grabbed those because, well, it wasn't very hard to get. I opened a couple of them and I just finished the group. But yeah, I don't collect a lot of the like extra treatments. And here's why. Here is how I feel good about this, okay? This is what make me feel good about this. Oh, hey, Ames. We're talking about Magic cards. I'm on Twitch. Are you proud of me? I'm streaming today. I'm gonna stream again someday. The studio has taken over my life. It's eaten my life. Anyway, so if I really want the special treatment cards, I'll get them or hang on to them. But 90% of the special treatments I open, I sell them. They typically go for more money than the regular arts. So like if I open a special treatment and it's not like 100% what I want to keep, I sell it and I usually have enough to get the regular art and something else. So for me, it's like opening 2 of the cards I really want, sometimes more, like with some of the really chase ones. And I just collect the regular arts. Like that's what I keep for my personal collection. And I open the others and I'm like, ooh, shiny. And sometimes they look better IRL, right? But then I just sell them. Other people will always take them. And the price of like your regular, just the regular art, regular flame, classic Magic foil is lower since they took this approach. It actually went down. Most of these you can get at a lower price than you could in the past by a lot. Collecting foils back when I was a kid was impossible. I didn't have the money. I didn't have anything close to the money. You know what I mean? So like I have accepted that the special shiny arts that may not be my style, those can exist. I'm just going to turn them into more cards and I'm just going to collect the original cards. And honestly, I feel great. Like I have a good time opening packs. I was kind of worried when Magic started doing all these different treatments. I think the thing that twisted me up the most was the oil slicks, the 9 Elishnorns from Phyrexia all will be one. I was like, that's too much. But now I'm just like, that's cool. I'll sell it to somebody who wants it. It's fun. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Use the money, get the cards I want. Some extended cards are cheaper. That's true as well. At least the extended cards are still the same art, right? Do you think players complain, or will they keep complaining? Oh, you sweet summer child. Magic players on the internet will complain about anything. Anything. I complain about everything. My content, as summarized by the typical new to Magic viewer, is whiny white boy complaining. That's my content. And I still love the game and have fun. Imagine the people who aren't having fun. Yeah, that's internet fan bases, right? They are doing this because Magic does so bad in Japan. Is that true? You are a voice on the internet. I can't believe you just because you say it. I can't imagine. See, I am guessing that in Japan, Magic is popular. It's just not as popular as the many Japanese properties. That would be my guess off the top of my head. It is, dude, racing. There is one racing movie is that true? Let me think for a second. In my mind, there is one racing movie that I like. One. And I bet none of you can guess what it is. You getting butthurt was amazing. See? There are people who actually like it when I suffer. I've leaned into it a lot. It is not Mad Max Thunderdome. It is not Speed Racer. It is not Tokyo Drift. It is not Talladega Nights. It is not Gone in 60 Seconds. Also, I'm disqualifying the entire Fast and the Furious franchise from consideration because nothing in those movies is about racing anymore. Firmly. It's not Need for Speed. Nope. It's not Smokey and the Bandit. It's not Cannonball. How old do you think I am? It's not Baby Driver. Nope. Nobody said it. Nobody said it. Cars. Nope. It's not Cars. Not Gran Turismo. Nope. Still don't have it. Again, we're not. Fast and the Furious is not being included. Not a little. Nope. It's not Akira or Herbie or Ford versus Ferrari, although you're the closest. It's not Mad Max. Nope. Days of Thunder. Nope. Although, damn, Tom Cruise. Wow. Basically, Top Gun 2 is what that was. It's not Mario Kart. That's not a movie yet. Give him time. Dora the Explorer. Nope, not that. Good for Another got it. This is the best racing movie of all time. Wait, I don't want to get claimed. I might get claimed. I don't want to get claimed. Rush is the best racing movie of all time. This movie is incredible. And not necessarily for the cars, because I'm just not that kind of... I'm not a car boy. I never have been. Rush is the best movie of all time because of the story of competition. A wise man learns more from his enemy than he will ever learn from his friend. Boom. Some of the best advice you can ever hear. In a world where everybody tries so hard to pretend their enemy doesn't exist, block them out, cancel them, never talk about them, you can learn something. We could all stand to learn something. Seriously. How did you think I got here? It wasn't because I had the most talent. It's because I was willing to learn. Wherever something was working, I was willing to learn from it. But yeah, this movie is sweet. Strongly recommended. Amazing movie. Absolutely. One of my favorite movies. Honestly, it might make my top 10 ever. It would definitely make my top 20. Awesome movie. Cars, dude, do we have to? I'm going to make enemies. Okay, fine. Fine. Cars was and always has been overrated. Never that good. Always mid. Always. From day one. You watch Finding Nemo and then Cars, there is just no way that you can... There's just no way, man. There's no way. It's not even on the same... It's not close to the same level. Toy Story and Cars, not close to the same level. Not even close. Cars was my childhood, and that's fine. We all have those movies as kids that we watch over and over. You wouldn't know any of mine because I'm old. But that doesn't make them the best movies, man. They're the best to you, and that's okay. I get it. A lot of kids love Cars. I get it. You guys wouldn't know my old childhood movies. You wouldn't know them. But I still watch it all the time. I think I've shared it on the channel before. That is not it. What the hell is that? No, it's this. This guy right here. I literally tried to recreate as close to scale as my tiny brain could comprehend Middle Earth in my sandbox. Where there's a whip, there's a way. See? Somebody remembers. Short Circuit. Okay, I watched Short Circuit many times. It was always so stupid. It was fun. It was really bad. It's a bad movie, dude. It's so bad. Short Circuit's so bad. But it's our bad movie, right? That's how that works. Gremlins, yep. Gremlins was... I didn't watch Gremlins that many times. The one I watched the most, and it was a movie, one of the first movies. No. The first movie I remember going to the theater for and seeing a line around the block. Jeez, it didn't even make the cut. Yeah, right there. First movie I actually remember going to a theater to watch with my dad. Line around the block. Insane. No pre-con deck list yet? No, that is correct. The pre-con deck lists are on the... Hold on. We can do this. Where to find MTG Aetherdrift previews. There's an article. The deck lists for the pre-cons will be revealed by the Command Zone on January 23rd and Commander at Home on January 24th. So that's when you'll know the contents of the pre-cons. Level of hype for Aetherdrift. Guys, I want to be really honest with you. I really want to be honest with you, but there is only so much I'm allowed to say. I've had the pleasure of seeing more of this set than you have. For the theme, I am not hyped. If you were to have me rank the themes, like racing, I think I've made clear across the stream, I'm not a car guy, never have been. I don't like the kind of the memification of the property. I don't. I'm old. That's to be expected. My hype, without taking any cards into consideration of any kind, would be like a 1, or I'll give it a 2 because it's Magic the Gathering and I still love Magic. That is the honest truth. This is going to sound shilly, but it's true. I'm being honest. I have had the great pleasure of seeing more of the set than you. With the cards taken into account, we're around a 7. And climbing. I haven't seen everything. There's so much I can't tell you. But there are some things that they did with these products that is better than what they did in the past. And it made a huge difference to me for my enjoyment. I think when you get past is that my Magic the Gathering, I think you will be happy. I think you will be happy. Many of you will be happy. That is my take. I said I would be as honest with you as I can be, and there's only so much I can tell you. But that's it. Are you already building? I built decks yesterday. I built decks the day before that. I have to end this stream, make a video, and then I go to town and I build again. Yes, all day has been building every day. Yes. Yes. Is it the cards or the product themselves? Both. There are things with the product, like the intentionality of the product. So, like they did say, here's something I can say. In the preview thing, they mentioned how the decks were set in the planes, yeah? That was on the stream. Yes, they mentioned, and they showed, like, I believe they showed some art, right? The decks do an amazing job of feeling like they are part of the plane. As it's really well done. The Amonkhet, like we kind of saw the heroes, right? We saw the 2 deck themes. We saw the commanders, right? There's an energy one, feels very, very much inspired by the Teamer energy decks of the past. Very awesome vibe to it. And the Amonkhet deck, same thing. Like, really felt amazing reflections of the worlds, which as I've been building commander decks more and more, it used to be all about like making a powerful commander deck to not get rolled at a table with other powerful commander decks. Now it's very much about like the vibe of the commander, the vibe of the deck, the vibe of the game. And I've enjoyed building for that so much, and they do a really good job with that. I feel like they've done a better job making the commander decks collector products that you would want as part of as a collector. They already were, but I think they've done a better job of that than before. So that's good for commander players. So I think I can say all that without getting in trouble. I think commander players will be really happy with the direction of the pre-con decks. And I think that standard players will be really happy with the gameplay. That is what I'm going to put out there for now. I am impressed. And that's somebody who coming in had a hype with the aesthetics and the vibe just not being really for me. I had put my hype at about 2. So I hope that helps. Maybe that helps some of you who aren't feeling as hyped. And again, anybody who's like the art is weird, it's not for me, I do recommend just collect the classics. Sell off the big shinies you pull and collect the classics. It honestly has changed my collecting experience. I've talked about this on stream before, but many of you haven't heard it. I used to collect everything in a set, and around Kamigawa, I just kind of got broken from doing that because there were so many arts that I collected from Kamigawa and so many different versions of the cards that I just felt like I wasn't connected to it anymore, and it felt like a chore. It, you know, it just felt bad trying to collect the whole thing. But collecting this way feels great. And it's actually a lot, most of the prices, like I said, are pushed down because most people are collecting the alt arts. It seems like those usually fetch a higher price. So I'm getting foil sets that I could have never afforded before in the past. I love it. Feels great. Classic MTG frame foil sets. I feel like such a big shot. All right. I'm going to end the stream there. I hope you enjoyed the Aetherdrift reaction show. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out today. I'm going to go work on some videos. Then I'm going to head to town. Gonna get to work. Gonna work at the studio, baby. Thank you for coming out. I'll find somebody here to raid. We'll end on the YouTube side. Go watch the daily video. Got a standard one for you today. God, what kind of a deck is it? It's blue-white control. You'll see. Big surprise, I know. Shocking, but you'll enjoy it. So go check that out on YouTube. And goodbye, YouTube. I'm going to log off now. You're cool. And for Twitch, let's find a raid. Yep, the filthy YouTube.